She's just a kid. 4 words. That's all it took to completely destroy the life I had carefully held together with duct tape and prayer. 4 words to a manager who was screaming at a terrified child over spilled wine. 4 words that I thought meant standing up for what was right. I had no idea those 4 words would put me in the crosshairs of the most dangerous man in the city. Let me ask you something. Have you ever done the right thing at absolutely the worst possible time? Have you ever opened your mouth when you should have stayed silent? Stepped forward when you should have stepped back? Chosen kindness when survival was the smarter choice? Before we go any further, how are you doing today? Where are you watching this from? Is it a good day, or are you just trying to get through it? Whatever brought you here, I promise this story is worth your time. This is about what happens when an exhausted single mother with nothing to lose catches the attention of a man who has everything except a reason to feel. This is about dangerous obsession, unexpected protection, and learning that sometimes the scariest people are the ones who love you most. My name is Nora Williams, and I was 28 years old when I made the biggest mistake of my life. I defended a random child in a fancy restaurant, and somehow ended up in the orbit of a man who decided he wanted to own me. Not hurt me. Not use me. Own me. Keep me. Protect me whether I wanted it or not. This is the story of how I went from working 3 jobs to survive to being wrapped in luxury I never asked for by a man I never should have met. How I became the only person who could make a ruthless mafia boss remember he was human. And how his 9-year-old daughter became the family I never knew I needed. But let me start from the beginning. I was broke. Not the kind of broke where you skip buying coffee. The kind where you calculate whether you can afford to turn on the heat or if wearing 2 sweaters is good enough. The kind where every single dollar has a job before you even earn it. I had exactly $43 in my bank account that night. Rent was due in 5 days. I needed $280 more or my landlord was going to evict me and my daughter. Again. We had already moved 3 times in 2 years because I kept falling behind. So I worked. Server at Marcelo's 5 nights a week. Office cleaning Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Weekend shifts at a grocery store when I could get them. I slept maybe 4 hours a night. I lived on whatever food was about to be thrown out at the restaurant. I had not bought new clothes in 18 months. And I had a daughter who deserved so much better than what I could give her. Ivy was 6. Beautiful, bright, curious about everything. She stayed with my neighbor Mrs. Patterson most nights while I worked. A woman who charged me $20 a night that I barely had but couldn't afford not to spend because childcare costs 3 times that much. Ivy asked me once why we never ate dinner together. I told her mommy had to work so we could have nice things. She said she would rather have me than nice things. I cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes after she fell asleep that night. The restaurant job was the best one I had. Marcelo's was expensive, exclusive, the kind of place where people spent more on one meal than I made in a week. Tips were decent on good nights. On bad nights, I still made more than the grocery store paid. I had been working there for 8 months. Gerald, the night manager, was a nightmare. Controlling, perfectionist, the type who thought screaming at staff made him professional. But I needed the job too badly to complain. That night started normal. Thursday evening shift. Steady crowd but not overwhelming. I was tired. I was always tired. But I smiled at customers, took orders carefully, moved efficiently through my section. I noticed the little girl immediately when she came in. She was maybe 9, delicate features, dark hair and careful braids. Wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. But what struck me was how happy she looked. Like being at this restaurant was the most exciting thing in the world. She sat alone at a prominent table. No adult with her, which seemed odd. But rich people did strange things. Maybe her parents were in the bathroom. Maybe they were running late. I was not assigned to her section, but I watched her anyway. Something about her reminded me of Ivy. That pure excitement about small things. The way she studied the menu like it held secrets. She ordered sparkling cider. Asked the waiter if it came in a wine glass because that would make her feel sophisticated. I smiled despite my exhaustion. Then the wine spilled. It happened so fast. She turned to look at something. Her elbow caught the glass. Red wine spread across white tablecloth and splashed onto the man at the next table. A total accident. The kind any kid could make. The man whose suit got hit looked annoyed but was already waving it off. Not a big deal. Gerald made it a very big deal. He descended on her table like she had committed murder. His voice cut through the entire restaurant. What is wrong with you? Do you have any idea how much that suit costs? I saw her face go white. Saw her eyes fill with tears. Saw her shrink into herself like she wanted to disappear. And I moved without thinking. I was across the restaurant in seconds, stepping between Gerald and this kid I had never met. Not even in my section. Not my business. Not my problem. Except she was terrified and alone, and he was twice her size screaming at her over an accident. She's just a kid. My voice came out steadier than I felt. It was an accident. Gerald turned on me. His face went red. This is none of your concern, Nora. Get back to work before you join her in apologizing. I should have backed down. Should have apologized. Should have remembered I needed this job desperately. Instead I said, I'll apologize when you stop yelling at a child who's clearly terrified. The restaurant went silent. Other diners were staring. I could see other servers watching with wide eyes. Everyone knew what happened to people who challenged Gerald. Do you have any idea who you're talking to? His voice was getting louder. I can have you fired for insubordination. And I made my choice. Then fire me. But you're not yelling at her anymore. I meant it. Completely. I would rather lose this job than watch this little girl get traumatized over spilled wine. I would figure out rent somehow. I always did. The little girl was looking up at me with huge dark eyes. Still scared but less alone. Worth it. Whatever happened next, it was worth it. What happened next was impossible. Gerald opened his mouth to respond, then stopped. His face changed. Went from anger to confusion to something that looked like terror. A man had appeared next to him. Tall, dressed expensively but simply. He leaned in and whispered something in Gerald's ear that I could not hear. Gerald went pale. Actually pale. Started looking around the restaurant frantically like he was searching for someone. That won't be necessary, the tall man said smoothly. Gerald is leaving. You did well. Then Gerald was being escorted out a side door by two men who appeared from nowhere. Within seconds he was just gone. I stood there completely confused. What just happened? Another manager appeared. Someone I had seen occasionally but who usually worked days. He smoothed things over with the wine customer, reassured the little girl, quietly cleaned up the mess. I waited for someone to fire me. Waited for security to escort me out like they did Gerald. Instead, the new manager approached me with an expression I could not read. Mr. Kenji would like to see you in his office. 10 minutes. Mr. Kenji. The owner. A man I had never met in 8 months. A man who supposedly visited once a month but always stayed hidden in the private booth behind smoked glass. A man whose name made other servers go quiet when he was in the building. Am I being fired? I asked. No. The manager's expression did not change. 10 minutes. 3rd floor. Someone will escort you. Then he walked away, leaving me standing there trying to understand what was happening. I checked on the little girl first. She was calmer now, drinking her sparkling cider, though she still looked shaken. Are you okay? I asked quietly. She nodded. Thank you for helping me. That man was really scary. You didn't do anything wrong, I told her. It was just an accident. Accidents happen. She gave me a small smile. My dad says good people are the ones who help even when it's hard. Smart kid. Your dad sounds wise. He is. Her smile got bigger. He's the best dad in the world. I hoped whoever her father was, he knew how lucky he was to have a daughter who thought that highly of him. 10 minutes later, I was being escorted upstairs by a man who looked more like security than restaurant staff. The 3rd floor was nothing like the dining area. Expensive, quiet, the kind of space that screamed money and power. I was led to a door at the end of a hallway. The security guy knocked once, then opened it. He'll be with you in a moment. Then I was alone in an office that was bigger than my entire apartment. I stood there in my worn server uniform with my messy hair and tired eyes, surrounded by furniture that cost more than I made in a year, and tried not to panic. I needed this job. I could not afford to lose this job. Whatever I had done wrong, I had to fix it. The door opened behind me. I turned around and forgot how to breathe. The man who walked in was maybe mid-30s. Dark hair that fell naturally away from his face. Features that belonged on magazine covers, not restaurant offices. Expensive suit that fit perfectly without looking like he tried. But what stopped my breath was his eyes. Dark, intense, completely unreadable. The kind of eyes that saw everything and revealed nothing. He closed the door. Studied me for a long moment that felt like an hour. Nora Williams. His voice was quiet, controlled. The kind of calm that felt more dangerous than yelling. You've worked here 8 months. Consistent performance. No complaints. Tips are above average despite you having the worst section in the restaurant. I had no idea what to say to that. You have a 6-year-old daughter named Ivy. You work 3 jobs. You're $280 short on rent that's due Tuesday. You've been evicted twice in 2 years. Ice flooded my veins. How do you know that? I know everything about everyone who works in my businesses. He moved closer. Not threatening but deliberate. What I don't know is why someone in your position would risk her job to defend a random child. She was scared. He was yelling at her over an accident. It wasn't right. It wasn't your problem. She's a kid. That makes it everyone's problem. Something flickered in those dark eyes. Not quite a smile. Something else. That little girl, he said quietly, is my daughter, Lily. She begged me to bring her tonight to celebrate her grades. I was watching from the private booth when the wine spilled. I saw everything. My stomach dropped. The little girl was his daughter. I had defended the daughter of the owner without knowing it. I'm sorry, I started. I didn't know. Don't apologize. He cut me off. You did something extraordinary. You stepped between my daughter and someone you thought could destroy you professionally. You chose her safety over your own security. Without knowing who she was. Without expecting anything in return. I did not know what to say to that. I fired Gerald, he continued. He's been skimming from the restaurant for 6 months anyway. You gave me an excuse to handle it publicly. You'll take over his position effective immediately. Salary not hourly. Benefits. Consistent schedule so you can stop working 3 jobs. I stared at him. What? You heard me. I don't understand. I'm a server. I have no management experience. You have something better. Integrity. That's rarer than experience. He pulled out his phone, typed something. Your rent is paid through the end of the year. Consider it a signing bonus. No. The word came out automatically. No, I can't accept that. Why not? Because I don't know you. Because this is too much. Because people don't just do things like this without wanting something in return. And there it was. That look in his eyes that I would come to know very well. Something that was not quite warmth but was not quite cold either. You're right, he said quietly. I do want something in return. Here it comes, I thought. Here's the price. I want you to let my daughter know that good people exist. I want her to see that kindness is real, not just a story I tell her. I want her to have someone in her life who chose to protect her when it mattered. I looked at him for a long moment, trying to understand if this was real or if there was a catch I could not see yet. Just kindness. I asked carefully. That's all you want? That's all I want. Felt like a lie. But I needed the money too desperately to question it too hard. Okay, I said. I'll take the job. Good. He held out his hand. Kenzo Kenji. I shook it. His hand was warm, steady, and the moment our skin touched, something shifted in the air between us that I could not name. Nora Williams. I know. Almost a smile. Welcome to management, Nora. I think you'll find this position very rewarding. He had no idea how right he was. And I had no idea that accepting this job meant accepting a place in a world I never knew existed. A world of danger and power and violence wrapped in expensive suits and quiet voices. I had no idea that this man who seemed so controlled, so calm, was the most dangerous person in the city. That his kindness toward me would become obsession. That his protection would become possession. I had no idea that defending his daughter would make me the only person who could reach the humanity he had buried under years of ruthlessness. All I knew was that I had a better job, my rent was paid, and I could finally take Ivy to dinner. Everything else I would learn later. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with someone who believes in second chances and unexpected connections. Comment below and tell me if you've ever made a choice that changed your entire life. I read every single comment. Asterisk asterisk. Now let me tell you about the first time I met Lily properly, and how a 9-year-old girl somehow knew exactly what her father was planning before I had any clue what I was walking into. The management office was nothing like I expected. No private space. No separation from staff. Kenzo put me at a desk right in the main administrative area where I could see the kitchen, the dining room entrance, and every server coming and going. You need to understand how everything works, he explained on my first day. You can't manage what you don't see. What he didn't say was that this position put me exactly where he could see me too. Every single day. I started the next Monday. Salary was 3 times what I made working 3 jobs. Benefits included health insurance, which meant I could finally take Ivy to a real doctor instead of the clinic that made us wait 4 hours. Paid time off. A schedule that let me actually see my daughter. Felt like winning the lottery. Ivy cried when I told her I would be home for dinner 5 nights a week. Really? She looked up at me with those huge eyes. You're not leaving tonight? Not tonight, baby. Not most nights anymore. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. That alone made everything worth it. Mrs. Patterson was happy too, though she told me she would miss having Ivy around so much. I paid her for 2 weeks of care she wouldn't be providing anymore because she had kept my daughter safe when I couldn't afford better options. The job itself was straightforward at first. Inventory management, staff scheduling, handling customer complaints, managing the servers who had been my coworkers a week earlier. Some of them were happy for me. Some were suspicious. A few were outright hostile. Must be nice, one server named Tasha said loud enough for me to hear. Defend the right kid and suddenly your management. I ignored it. I had dealt with worse. What I couldn't ignore was Kenzo. He was there every day. Not hovering, not micromanaging, but present. He would walk through the dining room during service, spend time in the kitchen, stop by my desk to ask questions that felt like tests. Why did you schedule Marcus for the bar on Saturday? Because tips are better and he has a custody hearing Monday. He needs the money. A pause. Then, good reason. He noticed everything. Who looked tired? Who seemed stressed? Which customers were regulars and which were trying to impress someone? He ran the restaurant the way someone runs a military operation. Precise. Controlled. Nothing left to chance. I didn't understand it then. Didn't realize this restaurant was practice for running an empire that had nothing to do with food. Lily came back the following Thursday. I was reviewing the wine inventory when I heard her voice in the dining room. That same bright excitement from the week before. I looked up and saw her talking to one of the hosts. Then her eyes found me. She lit up. Actually lit up like I was someone important. Nora. She rushed over, then seemed to remember herself and slowed down. I mean, Miss Williams. Dad said you work here now. That you're a manager. I am. I smiled at her. And you can call me Nora. How are you, Lily? Good. I got an A on my science project. Dad said we could celebrate here again. But this time I have to be more careful with the glasses. Accidents happen. Don't worry about it. Kenzo appeared behind her. He rested a hand on her shoulder, and I saw something in his expression soften in a way I hadn't seen before. This man who ran his restaurant like a general ran his army became something gentler around his daughter. Nora. He nodded to me. Lily insisted on sitting in view of your desk. I hope that's not distracting. Not at all. Lily beamed. Throughout the dinner service, she kept looking over at me, waving occasionally, showing me her sparkling cider in its wine glass, being completely innocently happy. I waved back when I could. Something about her pulled at my heart. Maybe because she reminded me of Ivy. Maybe because she seemed lonely despite having everything money could buy. When they were leaving, Lily stopped by my desk again. "Do you have kids?" she asked. "I do. A daughter named Ivy. She's 6. I bet she's really lucky to have you as a mom." The comment hit me harder than it should have. "Thank you, sweetheart. That's kind of you to say. Dad says you're the kindest person he's met in a long time." She said it matter-of-factly, like commenting on the weather. "He doesn't say that about people usually." I glanced at Kenzo, who was watching us with that unreadable expression. "Your father is very kind too," I said carefully. Lily giggled. "That's funny. Most people say he's scary." "Lily." Kenzo's voice was quiet but firm. "Sorry, Dad." She didn't look sorry. She looked at me again. "Can Ivy come have dinner with us sometime? I don't have many friends. Dad is really careful about who I spend time with." My instinct was to say no. To keep my daughter far away from people this wealthy, this connected, this far above our world. But Lily looked so hopeful. And Ivy had been asking why she never got to go anywhere nice. "Maybe," I said. "We'll see." "That means yes." Lily hugged me before I could react, then bounced back to her father. Nora said yes. "She said maybe," Kenzo corrected, but his eyes were on me. "We'll discuss it." After they left, I sat at my desk feeling like something significant had just happened and I had no idea what it was. My first hint that this job was not what it seemed came 2 weeks later. A man came into the restaurant at 11 in the morning. We weren't open yet. I was alone in the administrative office doing payroll. He walked straight past the locked front door like it wasn't there. Just appeared in my doorway without announcement. Expensive suit. Cold eyes. Expression that suggested he was used to getting what he wanted. "You're the new manager." Not a question. "Yes. We're not open until 5. If you'd like to make a reservation, tell Kenzo that Vincent wants a meeting. Today." The usual place. Every instinct in my body screamed danger. "I can leave him a message, but I don't have direct." "You have his personal number. Everyone in this position has his personal number. Tell him Vincent doesn't like waiting." Then he left as suddenly as he appeared. I sat there with my heart pounding. Vincent. The usual place. The way he assumed I had Kenzo's personal number, which I did because Kenzo had given it to me the first day for emergencies. This felt like an emergency. I called him. He answered on the first ring. "Nora. A man named Vincent was just here. He said to tell you he wants a meeting today at the usual place." He let himself in through the locked front door. Silence on the other end. Then, "What did he look like?" I described him. "Did he touch you? Threaten you?" "No. Just delivered the message and left." "Good." His voice shifted into something harder. "Lock the office door. Don't let anyone in until I get there. I'm 10 minutes away." "Kenzo, what?" 10 minutes. "Lock the door, Nora." He hung up. I locked the door with shaking hands. Kenzo arrived in 7 minutes. I heard him come in, heard him moving through the restaurant. He knocked on the office door. "It's me." I unlocked it. He came in and immediately checked every corner of the room like he expected to find something dangerous hiding there. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "Vincent shouldn't have approached you. That was inappropriate." "Who is he?" "A business associate. He knows better than to come here during the day." He looked at me carefully. "Did he scare you?" "A little." "He won't bother you again. I'll make sure of it." The way he said it made me believe him. Also made me wonder what "make sure of it" actually meant. "Kenzo." I chose my words carefully. "What kind of business are you in? Besides the restaurant?" He studied me for a long moment. I could see him deciding how much to tell me. The kind where I keep certain people away from you and Lily. That's all you need to know right now. That's not reassuring. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be honest. He moved toward the door then stopped. You're safe here, Nora. Promise you that. No one will touch you. But there are parts of my life that don't touch this restaurant, and I need to keep it that way. And if those parts show up anyway, like Vincent, then I handle it. Like I'm going to handle it right now. He paused at the door. Take the rest of the day off. Paid. Take Ivy somewhere nice. I'll call you tonight to make sure you're okay. He left before I could argue. I sat at my desk trying to process what just happened, trying to understand what kind of business associate let themselves into locked buildings and made men like Kenzo sound dangerous when they said they would handle it. That night, Kenzo called exactly when he said he would. Are you okay? He asked. Fine. Took Ivy to the park. She's asleep now. Good. A pause. Vincent won't be a problem anymore. You have my word. I wanted to ask what that meant. I didn't. Nora, I need you to understand something. My life is complicated. The restaurant is the clean part. There are other parts that aren't clean. I keep those parts separate. But sometimes they cross over, and when they do, I need you to trust me to handle it. I don't know if I can do that when I don't know what I'm trusting you with. Fair. He sounded almost amused. Then trust this. You and Ivy are under my protection now. Anyone who works for me is under my protection. That means you're safe in ways you've never been safe before. That sounds like something dangerous people say. It is. No hesitation. I'm a dangerous person, Nora. But not to you. Never to you. I should have quit right then. Should have recognized the warning for what it was. But my rent was paid. My daughter had health insurance. I was making more money than I ever had. So I ignored the warning. Okay, I said quietly. I'll trust you. Thank you. He sounded relieved. Lily wants to know if Ivy can come to dinner Saturday. My home, not the restaurant. Completely safe. My chef makes excellent pasta, and Lily promises to show Ivy her collection of science books. Every instinct said no. Every practical bone in my body said yes because disappointing this man felt dangerous in a way I couldn't name. Okay. Saturday. Perfect. I'll send a car at 5. We can take the bus. Nora. His voice was gentle but firm. Let me send a car. Please. Okay. 5 o'clock. I hung up and stared at my phone wondering what I had just agreed to. Wondering why a restaurant owner needed to send a car instead of letting us take the bus. Wondering what kind of protection I was supposedly under. Wondering why the most dangerous thing about Kenzo Kenji felt like how safe he made me feel. I would get my answers Saturday. And once I did, there would be no going back to the simple life I thought I was building. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment and tell me if you've ever ignored a warning you knew you should have listened to. Because I ignored mine and it changed absolutely everything. The car that picked us up Saturday wasn't a car. It was a black SUV with windows so dark I couldn't see inside. The driver wore a suit and opened the door without smiling. Ivy clutched my hand. Mommy, this is fancy. Very fancy, baby. The drive took 30 minutes. Out of our neighborhood with its cracked sidewalks and chain-link fences. Through downtown. Into areas where houses had gates and driveways longer than our entire street. Kenzo's home wasn't a house. It was an estate. Stone walls. Iron gates that opened automatically. Gardens that probably required a full-time staff. Ivy's eyes went huge. Does Lily live in a castle? Something like that. Kenzo met us at the front door. He traded his suit for dark jeans and a simple black shirt. Somehow he looked more dangerous casual than he did formal. Nora. Ivy. He smiled at my daughter. Lily's been waiting for you all day. She's in the library. A woman appeared to take our coats. Another to offer drinks. The house was beautiful in a way that felt unreal. High ceilings. Art that probably cost more than I'd make in 10 years. Everything perfect and cold except for one thing. Children's drawings on the refrigerator in the massive kitchen we passed. Lily's backpack on a chair. A stuffed animal on the couch. Small signs that a little girl actually lived here. Lily came running when she heard us. She grabbed Ivy's hand immediately. Come see my books. Do you like science? I have one about volcanoes that has pictures that pop up. Ivy looked at me for permission. I nodded. The girls disappeared upstairs with Lily chattering the whole way. Kenzo watched them go with an expression I couldn't read. She doesn't have friends over often, he said quietly. Thank you for bringing Ivy. Lily seems lonely. She is. He gestured toward the sitting room. Drink? I have wine, or something non-alcoholic if you prefer. Water is fine. We sat in a room that probably cost more to decorate than my entire year's salary. Kenzo handed me water in a glass that caught the light like crystal. You're wondering why I live like this but work at a restaurant, he said. A little. The restaurant is legitimate, profitable on its own. It's the one part of my life that's completely clean. He watched me carefully. Everything else is complicated. How complicated? The kind where I can't give you details without putting you in danger. The kind where knowing less keeps you safer. That's not reassuring. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be honest. He leaned forward. Nora, I need to tell you something. That job I gave you wasn't just because you defended Lily. It was because I need someone at that restaurant I can trust completely. Someone who can't be bought or threatened. Someone who does the right thing even when it costs them. Why do you need that? Because people try to use my businesses to get to me. They plant staff. They threaten employees. They look for weak points. His voice stayed calm but something dangerous flickered in his eyes. You're not a weak point. You're the opposite. And that makes you valuable. I don't want to be valuable. I want to support my daughter. You can do both. Before I could respond, Lily's scream cut through the house. Kenzo was moving before I even processed the sound. I followed him upstairs, heart pounding. The girls were fine. Lily was pointing out her window, excited not scared. Dad, there's a man by the back gate. I don't recognize him. Kenzo looked out the window. His entire body went rigid. Lily, take Ivy to your closet. Now. It's a game, remember? Like we practiced. But Dad. Now Lily. Something in his voice made her move. She grabbed Ivy's hand. My daughter looked terrified. Mommy. Go with Lily, baby. It's okay. Kenzo pulled out his phone. Sent a text. 3 men appeared from nowhere, all armed. Armed. With actual guns. Stay with the girls, Kenzo told one of them. To me he said, come with me. What's happening? Someone just made a mistake. He took my arm, not rough but firm. Stay behind me. Don't speak. Don't react. Understand. I nodded because I couldn't find words. We went downstairs. Out the back door. Toward the gate where a man was trying to climb over. He dropped when he saw Kenzo. Landed hard and didn't run. Mr. Kenji. I can explain. You have 30 seconds. Kenzo's voice was completely calm. That scared me more than if he'd been yelling. Vincent sent me. He wants to talk. He said you'd understand. I told Vincent we were done talking. I told him if he came near my home, my restaurant, or anyone I care about, there would be consequences. He said you'd say that. He said to remind you about the arrangement. The arrangement ended when he walked into my restaurant and scared my employee. Kenzo pulled out his phone. Made a call. Lucian. Vincent needs to be reminded about boundaries. Handle it. He hung up. Looked at the man by the gate. Tell Vincent if he sends anyone near my home again, I won't be this polite. Now leave before I change my mind about letting you walk away. The man ran. Kenzo turned to me. Saw my face. You're scared. You have armed men in your house. Someone just climbed your gate. You made a phone call that sounded like a threat. Yes, I'm scared. Of me. I wanted to say yes. Should have said yes. I don't know. He studied me for a long moment. Come inside. Let me explain. Back in the sitting room, Kenzo poured himself something stronger than water. I run an organization. It's not legal. It's not safe. It's the reason I have money and power and enemies. The restaurant is my exit strategy. Something clean for Lily to inherit. But right now I'm still in the life that pays for all of this. You're a criminal. Yes. No hesitation. I am. I won't lie to you about that. I should have grabbed Ivy and left. Should have quit the job. Should have run as far from this man as possible. Why are you telling me this? Because you're in my life now whether we planned it or not. You work for me. Lily loves you. And people who want to hurt me will notice that. He met my eyes. I'm telling you because you deserve to know what you're walking into. And because I'm offering you a choice. What choice? You can leave. I'll pay you 6 months' salary. Help you find another job. Make sure you and Ivy are set up somewhere safe. You walk away and we never see each other again. Or you stay. You keep working for me. You let me keep you and Ivy safe. You accept that my world is dangerous, but that I will never let that danger touch you. Why would I choose that? Because you need security and I can give it to you. Because Lily needs someone good in her life and that's you. Because your daughter deserves better than struggling, and I can provide that. He paused. And because I think you see something in me that most people don't. Something that might still be worth saving. I don't know you well enough to save you. Then get to know me. Stay for dinner. Let the girls play. Give me a chance to show you that I'm more than the worst thing I've ever done. Upstairs I could hear Ivy laughing. Actually laughing in a way she didn't get to very often because we were always too tired, too stressed, too broke. I thought about our apartment with its broken heating. About the eviction notices. About working myself to exhaustion and still barely making it. I thought about Ivy having health insurance. About being home for dinner. About not being terrified every month that we'd end up on the street. I made my choice. I'll stay. For now. But if I think Ivy is in any danger, any at all, I'm gone. Fair. He looked relieved. You won't regret this. I already do. He almost smiled. Honest. I liked that. Dinner was perfect. The girls talked non-stop. Lily showed Ivy her entire book collection. Kenzo was patient and kind with both of them. If I didn't know what I now knew, it would have felt like a normal family dinner. But I did know. And normal was never going to be an option again. When the car took us home that night, Ivy fell asleep against my shoulder. My phone buzzed. A text from Kenzo. You and Ivy are under my protection now. That means 24/7 security you won't see but will always be there. It means anyone who threatens you answers to me. It means you're safe. I promise. I stared at that text for a long time. I just accepted protection from a criminal. Agreed to let my daughter into the orbit of someone dangerous. But for the first time in 6 years I wasn't terrified about making rent. I'd traded one kind of fear for another. I just hoped I'd made the right choice. Like and subscribe if you're still with me. Comment and tell me if you've ever made a deal you knew might destroy you. Because I just made mine and there was no going back. The security started the next day. I didn't notice at first. Then I realized the same car was always parked across from our apartment. The same man was always at the coffee shop when I dropped Ivy at school. Someone was always nearby. It should have felt invasive. Instead it felt safe. Ivy noticed too. Mommy, why is that nice man always reading the newspaper on our corner? He likes that spot, baby. She accepted it because she was 6. I accepted it because I'd made my choice. Work became different after that dinner. Kenzo was there more often. Not hovering but present. He'd stop by my desk with coffee. Ask about Ivy. Make sure I was settling into the job. Other staff noticed. You and Mr. Kenji seem close, Tasha said one day. Her tone suggested it meant something it didn't. He's my boss. Right. Your boss who pays your rent and sends cars for you. I ignored her. But the whispers started. About how I'd gotten the job. About what I was doing to keep it. About why the owner suddenly cared about one manager. I told myself it didn't matter. I was doing my job well. The restaurant ran smoothly. What people assumed wasn't my problem. Then Lily started coming to the restaurant 3 times a week instead of once. She'd sit at a table doing homework while Kenzo worked in his office. But mostly she'd hang around my desk talking about school, asking about Ivy, showing me her latest projects. "Dad says you're really good at your job," she told me one evening. "I try. He says you're different from other people. That you're real." I didn't know what to say to that. "Do you like my dad?" she asked suddenly. "Of course. He's a good boss." "No, I mean, do you like him? "Lily, that's not appropriate." She grinned. "You do. Your face got all weird." "My face did not get weird." "It totally did." "That's okay. Dad's face gets weird when he talks about you too." Before I could respond to that, Kenzo appeared. "Lily, stop interrogating Nora. She has work to do." "I'm not interrogating. I'm asking questions." "That's different." "Out. Now, go do your math homework." Lily left, but not before giving me a knowing look that made me deeply uncomfortable. Kenzo watched her go. "I apologize. She's been asking a lot of questions lately about why I don't date." "And what do you tell her?" "That I'm too busy. That work is complicated. That the right person hasn't come along." He paused. "She told me yesterday that maybe I wasn't looking in the right places." "Smart kid. Too smart." "He studied me." "She's getting attached to you." "To Ivy." "I wanted to make sure you're okay with that." "Are you asking permission or warning me?" "Both, maybe." The honest answer surprised me. "I don't mind. Ivy talks about Lily constantly. I think they're good for each other." "They are." He hesitated. "How would you feel about making it more regular? Playdates once a week. Maybe weekends sometimes. Lily needs friends, and Ivy seems to genuinely like her." Every logical part of me said this was getting too complicated. We were getting too involved in his life. But Ivy was happier than she'd been in years. "Okay. Once a week." His smile was genuine. "Thank you." That weekend, Lily came to our apartment for the first time. The SUV pulled up to our building and I watched Kenzo's face as he took in the neighborhood. The broken streetlights. The graffiti. The bars on windows. He didn't say anything. Just held Lily's hand as they walked to my door. Our apartment was clean but small. Cramped. The furniture was second-hand. The walls needed paint. It was everything his estate wasn't. Lily loved it immediately. "This is so cozy. Ivy, you have the best stuffed animal collection." The girls disappeared into Ivy's tiny room. I stood awkwardly with Kenzo in my living room that could fit inside his kitchen. "You don't have to look so uncomfortable," I said. "I'm not uncomfortable. I'm angry." "At what?" "That you were living like this while working 3 jobs. That you've been one emergency away from homelessness, while people like me have more than we need." He looked at me. "You should have better than this." "I have what I can afford." "You have what a broken system gave you." "There's a difference." I didn't know how to respond to that. He walked to the window. "The security I have on you. I'm adding more. This neighborhood isn't safe. It's all I can afford." "Not anymore." He turned. "I'm moving you. Somewhere better. Before you argue, it's not a gift. It's protection. People know you work for me now. They know Lily comes here. This building has no security. Anyone could walk in. I can't afford anywhere better. I'm not asking you to pay for it." He held up a hand before I could protest. "Consider it part of your compensation package. Employee housing. Non-negotiable." "Kenzo." "Nora, someone tried to climb my gate last week. Vincent knows who you are now. Other people will too. I can't protect you if you're somewhere I can't secure." His voice softened. "Please, let me do this. For Ivy, if not for you." The mention of my daughter made the decision. "Fine. But nothing ridiculous. Just safe." "Safe. I promise." The apartment he moved us to 2 weeks later was 3 times the size of our old place. Clean building. Security. A doorman. Separate bedrooms for me and Ivy. Windows without bars. Ivy cried when she saw her new room. "It's so pretty, Mommy." I cried too. Because I'd never been able to give her this. Because accepting it from Kenzo meant I was more dependent on him than ever. Because I was terrified of what that dependence might cost. That night, after Ivy was asleep, Kenzo stopped by with takeout. You don't have furniture yet. I thought you might be hungry. We sat on the floor of my empty living room eating Chinese food from containers. This is too much, I said quietly. It's not enough. But it's a start. I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep being who you are. Keep being real. He looked at me. Everyone in my life wants something. Money. Power. Protection. You're the first person in 15 years who just wanted to help a scared kid. That's worth more than you know. I'm not special. You are. You just don't see it yet. The way he looked at me made something warm unfold in my chest. Something dangerous. Kenzo, what is this? What are we doing? I don't know. He was honest. All I know is that you and Ivy make my life feel less empty. Lily smiles more. I remember what it's like to care about something besides power. He paused. Is that okay? I should have said no. Should have established boundaries. Should have kept this professional. It's okay. He smiled. Really smiled. Good. After he left, I sat in my empty apartment and realized the truth. I was falling for a criminal. A dangerous man who ran an empire built on violence. A man who could destroy me with one phone call. And the worst part was I didn't want to stop. Hit like and subscribe. Comment if you've ever caught feelings for exactly the wrong person. Because I was about to learn that wrong person or not, some things are inevitable. 3 months in, my life looked different. Better apartment. One job. Time with Ivy. Lily over twice a week. Kenzo stopping by with dinner most nights. It felt normal. That should have been my warning. The woman came on a Tuesday afternoon. Expensive clothes. Cold smile. Walked straight to my desk. You must be Nora. I'm Claire. Kenzo's business partner. I'd never heard him mention a Claire. Nice to meet you. Is it? She sat uninvited. The waitress who got promoted after one good deed. The single mother he's supporting. Very professional arrangement. Is there something you need? I need you to understand that people like you don't survive in Kenzo's world. You're a distraction. A liability. Eventually, he'll realize that. She leaned forward. Men like Kenzo don't end up with women like you. They use you until you're no longer useful. She left before I could respond. That night, Kenzo came by with Lily. The girls were doing a science project. You're quiet, he said. Everything okay? Claire came to see me. Said I'm a distraction. That you'll get tired of me. His body went rigid. Claire's been trying to position herself as more than a business partner for years. Ignore her. Is she right? That this can't last. You want the truth? Always. Yes, you're a liability. Having someone I care about makes me vulnerable. Enemies will notice. He paused. But I don't care. I'll handle it. That's not reassuring. It's honest. Nor I'm not using you. What's happening between us is real. And it terrifies me because I haven't felt real in 15 years. What is happening between us? I don't know. But I want to find out. If you do. I should have said no. I want to find out too. He kissed me. Gentle then deeper. Like he'd been holding back for months. Lily's voice came from the doorway. Finally. Ivy, your mom and my dad are kissing. Ivy appeared. Does that mean we're going to be sisters? We both froze. Maybe someday, Kenzo said quietly, looking at me. We just crossed a line we couldn't uncross. After they left, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. You should have listened. You have no idea what you just walked into. He can't protect you from what's coming. Then a photo. Kenzo meeting with men I didn't recognize. Money on a table. Guns visible. Another text. Ask him about the Garcia family. Ask him what he did to them. Then decide if you want your daughter anywhere near him. My hands shook. I searched Garcia family. Found a news article from 2 years ago. Entire family disappeared. Suspected organized crime. Never found. The article mentioned Kenzo's name. No charges. No evidence. But his name. I sat in the apartment he paid for and realized I had no idea who Kenzo Kinji really was. I'd fallen for a man who might be capable of making families disappear. I'd let my daughter get attached to his daughter. I just kissed him and said maybe someday we'd be a family. And someone was warning me it was all a terrible mistake. I looked at the photo again. At Kenzo's face in that meeting. Cold. Unreadable. Nothing like the man who brought takeout and sat on my floor. Which version was real? I texted him. We need to talk. Tomorrow. Without the girls. His response came immediately. What's wrong? Tomorrow. I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at that photo and wondered what I'd gotten myself and my daughter into. Like and subscribe. Comment and tell me what you'd do. Because I was about to confront a dangerous man and demand the truth, and I had no idea if I'd survive what he told me. We met at the restaurant before opening. Just us. No Lily. No Ivy. No staff. I put the photo on the table between us. Kenzo looked at it. His expression didn't change. Where did you get this? Someone texted it to me. After you left last night. They told me to ask you about the Garcia family. He was quiet for a long moment. What do you want to know? The truth. All of it. He poured himself coffee. Sat across from me. The Garcia family ran drugs through the ports. They were sloppy. Got kids involved. 12-year-olds as runners. I warned them 3 times to clean up their operation or get out. And when they didn't, they disappeared. He met my eyes. I didn't kill them if that's what you're asking. I moved them. New identities. New city. Told everyone they were dead so no one would come looking. The ones who wouldn't leave without a fight, I handled differently. Handled how? You don't want those details, Nora? Yes, I do. If I'm going to be in your life, I need to know who you are. He studied me. I've hurt people. Killed people when necessary. Built an empire on fear and violence. I'm not a good man. I've never pretended to be. But you saved the Garcia kids. I have limits. Children are one of them. He leaned forward. I know what I am. I know what I've done. But I've never lied to you about it. I told you from the start I was dangerous. Who sent me that photo? Probably Claire. Possibly Vincent. Could be any number of people who want to drive a wedge between us. Why? Because you make me weak. Because I care about you and that gives people leverage. Because if they can't use you against me, they want you gone. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means being with me puts a target on your back. On Ivy's back. It means my enemies will see you as my weakness and try to exploit that. So Claire was right. I am a liability. No. You're the only real thing in my life. But yes, that makes you vulnerable. He reached across the table. I pulled my hand back. I need to think about this. I understand. I need to think about whether I can live in your world. Whether I can risk Ivy's safety for this. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain maybe. I understand that too. I left without kissing him goodbye. The threat started 2 days later. A note slipped under my apartment door. Leave him or we'll make you leave. A man following Ivy home from school. My security stopped him but the message was clear. Flowers delivered to the restaurant. Beautiful roses. The card said, lovely daughter you have. Would be a shame if something happened to her. I called Kenzo immediately. I'm pulling you out, he said. Packing you and Ivy up tonight. Putting you somewhere safe until I handle this. Handle it how? However I need to. That's not good enough. It's all I can offer right now. His voice was strained. Nora, please. Let me protect you. By hiding us away? For how long? Forever. If that's what it takes. That's not a life. It's better than the alternative. I looked at Ivy playing in her room. Happy. Safe. Unaware that people were threatening her because of me. Because I'd fallen for the wrong man. I can't do this, I said quietly. Silence on the other end. I can't put Ivy at risk. I can't live looking over my shoulder. I can't be the reason someone hurts my daughter. Nora. I'm done, Kenzo. I'll work out my notice at the restaurant. We'll move out of the apartment. Just please make sure whoever is doing this knows I'm not a threat anymore. You think leaving me makes you safe? Once you're in this world, you don't just walk out. Then what do I do? My voice broke. Tell me what to do because I'm terrified and I don't know how to protect my daughter. You trust me. You let me handle this. You stay close where I can keep you safe. Every time I get close to you, the threats get worse. Because they're trying to break us apart. If you leave, they win. I don't care about winning. I care about Ivy. He was quiet for a moment. I'll make this right. Give me 1 week. 7 days to eliminate the threat. If I can't, I'll help you disappear. New city. New identity. Enough money to start over. You'll never see me again. And if you can eliminate it, then you decide. Stay or go. No pressure. No obligations. Your choice. It was a terrible deal. 7 more days in danger. 7 more days of threats. But it was also a chance. 1 week. That's it. 1 week. I promise. That week was hell. Ivy couldn't go to school. We stayed in the apartment with armed guards outside. She didn't understand why we couldn't leave. Why Lily couldn't visit. Why Mommy looked scared all the time. Did we do something wrong? She asked on day 3. No, baby. We're just being extra careful right now. Because of the bad people? My heart stopped. What bad people? The ones Lily told me about. She said her dad keeps her safe from bad people. Are they after us too now? I held her tight. No one is going to hurt you. I promise. I was lying. I had no idea if I could keep that promise. On day 5, Kenzo stopped answering my calls. On day 6, I saw the news. Massive raid on an illegal operation. Multiple arrests. 3 people dead. No mention of Kenzo's name. He showed up at my door on day 7 looking like he hadn't slept in a week. It's done. Vincent's in custody. Claire's gone. The people making threats are either arrested or disappeared. You're safe. How? You don't want those details. Did you kill them? Some of them. The ones who wouldn't stop any other way. No hesitation. No apology. I did what I had to do to keep you safe. I should have been horrified. Should have pushed him away. Instead I asked, is it really over? For now. There will always be threats in my world. But the immediate danger is gone. And the deal? I get to choose. You get to choose. I looked at Ivy sleeping in her room. Thought about the life we could have if I left. Safe. Normal. Away from all this. Then I looked at Kenzo. Exhausted. Dangerous. A man who just dismantled an entire operation to keep us safe. A man who loved us enough to kill for us. I need conditions, I said. Name them. Ivy never knows the details of what you do. She gets to be a kid. No business around her. Ever. Done. If the threats come back, if anyone targets her again, we disappear. No arguments. Agreed. And you start getting out. You meant it about the restaurant being your exit strategy. So start exiting. I won't watch you die in some gang war. He smiled. Barely. That one's harder. But I'll try. Not try. Do it. Or I walk. Okay. I'll do it. I took a breath. Then I'm staying. He pulled me into his arms. Held me like I was the only thing keeping him standing. Maybe I was. I love you, he said quietly. I know it's too soon and too complicated and probably terrifying to hear, but I love you. It is terrifying. I pulled back to look at him. But I love you too. God help me. He kissed me. Not gentle this time. Desperate. Like he'd thought he'd lost me and couldn't quite believe I was still here. When we pulled apart, I said, no more secrets. If something's coming, you tell me. No more secrets. He was lying. We both knew it. Some secrets were too dangerous to share. But for now we were safe. Together. trying to build something real in a world that didn't allow for real things. I just hoped it was enough. Like and subscribe. Comment if you've ever stayed when you should have run. Because I just chose love over safety and I was about to find out what that really cost. 6 months later we'd found a rhythm. Kenzo was slowly pulling out of the illegal operations, transitioning to legitimate businesses. It was slow, dangerous. People didn't just let you walk away from that world. But he was trying. For me. For Lily. For the future he wanted to build. Lily and Ivy were inseparable now. They called each other sisters. Had sleepovers every weekend. Ivy's room at Kenzo's house was as decorated as her room at our apartment. We were becoming a family. Carefully. Cautiously. But real. Then everything changed on a random Tuesday. I was at the restaurant doing inventory when a woman walked in. Mid-50s. Expensive but understated clothes. She looked familiar but I couldn't place her. Nora Williams? Yes. Can I help you? I'm Margaret Russo. I believe you know my son. Kenzo. I froze. Kenzo's mother. The woman who'd remarried the man who killed his father. The woman he hadn't spoken to in 17 years. Mrs. Russo. Please. Sit. I need to talk to you about my son. Every instinct said no. But curiosity won. Kenzo doesn't know you're here, she said. He wouldn't approve. But I've been watching from a distance. I know about you. About your daughter. About how he's changing. Why are you here? Because my son has never brought a woman into his life. Never let anyone close to Lily. Never tried to leave the organization. She leaned forward. You're changing him. Making him want things he stopped believing were possible. He's changing himself. With your help. And I need you to know what that means. She pulled out a folder. The people he's trying to leave behind won't let him go easily. They'll see it as weakness. As betrayal. There will be consequences. He knows that. Does he know they'll come after you and your daughter first? That they'll use you to pull him back in or destroy him trying? My blood went cold. What are you saying? I'm saying you have a choice. You can leave now. I'll help you. New city. New identity. Money to start over. You and your daughter completely safe. Kenzo offered me the same thing once. I said no. That was before he started pulling out. Before he made himself vulnerable. The threats then were nothing compared to what's coming. Why do you care? She was quiet for a moment. Because I destroyed my son once. I chose safety over him. Married the man who killed his father because I was terrified. I've regretted it every day for 17 years. She looked at me. I don't want him destroyed again. And if you stay, if he keeps trying to leave for you, they will destroy him. So your solution is I abandon him. My solution is you save him. By leaving before he sacrifices everything for you and loses anyway. I stood up. I don't know what kind of mother abandons her child twice, but I'm not doing your guilt work for you. Kenzo made his choice. I made mine. We face what comes together. You don't understand what you're up against. Then I'll learn. But I'm not running. She studied me for a long moment. He's lucky to have you. I hope you both survive what's coming. She left the folder on my desk. I opened it after she was gone. Pictures of men. Names. Organizations. A detailed breakdown of every threat Kenzo was facing by trying to leave. It was worse than I'd thought. Much worse. That night I showed it to Kenzo. He went pale. Where did you get this? Your mother came to see me. His entire body tensed. What did she want? To convince me to leave you. Said it was the only way to save you. And I told her no. But Kenzo, this is bad. These people, the threats, it's worse than you told me. I know. Then why are you still trying to leave? Why not just stay in until it's actually safe to go? He looked at me like I'd suggested he stop breathing. Because every day I stay in is another day. I'm not the man I want to be. For you. For Lily. For myself. I don't want you to be a good man if it gets you killed. I don't want to be a monster anymore. He pulled me close. You made me remember I'm human. I can't go back to forgetting that. So what do? We fight. Together. We're smarter than them. More motivated. We have something they don't. What's that? Something worth protecting. It should have felt romantic. Instead it felt terrifying. Because I realized in that moment that this wasn't just about staying with Kenzo anymore. It was about actively fighting for a life together. About being part of his world instead of just existing in it. I want to help, I said. No. Absolutely not. You don't get to protect me by shutting me out. If we're doing this together, then we're actually doing it together. Nora, you don't understand what you're asking. Then explain it to me. Teach me. Let me in. I held his face. You said no more secrets. So stop keeping me in the dark about the threats and let me help you fight them. He was quiet for a long time. If I do this, if I bring you in, there's no going back. You'll know things that make you complicit. Things that could destroy you if anyone finds out. I'm already complicit. I'm sleeping with a mob boss. I'm living in an apartment he pays for. I'm letting his daughter become sisters with mine. I crossed that line months ago. This is different. I know. I'm choosing it anyway. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. You're terrifying. Good. So are you. We'll match. He almost smiled. Okay. Tomorrow. I'll show you everything. The organization. The operations. The exit strategy. All of it. And then we make a plan. Together. Together. That night, lying in bed, I realized what I'd just done. I'd gone from a struggling waitress trying to survive to someone actively participating in organized crime. I'd chosen to become part of Kenzo's world instead of just a visitor in it. I'd made myself a target. Made Ivy a target. Put us both in danger I couldn't fully understand yet. But I'd also chosen to fight for something real. For a man who was trying to change. For a family that was worth the risk. For the first time in my life, I wasn't just surviving. I was choosing. Actively building something instead of just accepting whatever scraps the world gave me. It was terrifying. It was also the most alive I'd ever felt. The next day, Kenzo took me to a building I'd never seen. Underground office. Security everywhere. Maps on the walls. Files everywhere. This is the center of everything, he said. Welcome to my world, Nora. I hope you're ready. I looked at the empire he'd built. The danger we were facing. The impossible task of walking away from all of it. I'm ready. I was lying. I had no idea what I was ready for. But I was about to find out. Kenzo taught me everything over the next 3 months. How the organization worked. Who owed what. Which operations were legitimate and which weren't. The web of connections that kept everything running. More importantly, he taught me how to document everything. Every transaction. Every meeting. Every threat. Every person who didn't want him to leave. If we're getting out, he said, we need leverage. We need enough evidence on everyone else that they can't touch us without destroying themselves. We built files. Recorded conversations. Copied documents. Gathered enough evidence to bring down half the criminal operations in the city. It was insurance. Mutual destruction if anyone came after us. It was also dangerous as hell. Claire figured it out first. She showed up at the restaurant 4 months into our plan. Furious. You're documenting everything. Building files. Planning to burn the whole organization down on your way out. Kenzo didn't deny it. I'm planning to leave clean. If people let me go, the files stay buried. If they don't, everyone goes down with me. That's suicide. They'll kill you before they let you walk away with that kind of leverage. They can try. She looked at me. This is your doing. You made him soft. Made him think he can just walk away from 15 years of blood and violence. I made him remember he's human, I said. Not the same thing. You made him weak. And weakness gets people killed in this world. Then maybe it's a world worth leaving. She laughed. Sharp and cold. You really think you can just build a white picket fence life with a man like him? You think he can be normal? I think he can try. That's more than he had before. You're both fools. And when this falls apart, when they come for you and your daughter, don't say I didn't warn you." She left. 2 weeks later, the threats escalated. Notes. Photos of Ivy at school. Messages about what would happen if Kenzo didn't stop his exit plan. Then they made their mistake. They went after Lily. She was at school when 3 men tried to grab her. Kenzo's security stopped them, but the message was clear. Stop leaving or lose your daughter. I watched Kenzo transform that night. The careful, controlled man I'd fallen in love with disappeared. What was left was the person he'd been before me. Cold. Dangerous. Absolutely ruthless. They touched my daughter. There are no rules anymore. Kenzo, we have to be smart about this. I'm done being smart. I'm done negotiating. I'm done pretending there's a peaceful way out. He looked at me. I'm burning it all down. Everyone who threatened you threatened Lily, threatened our future. All of it. With the files. With everything we have. I'm calling a meeting. Every major player. I'm putting all the evidence on the table and I'm making it clear. Let me walk away or I release everything to the FBI, the police, the media. Everyone goes down. That's incredibly dangerous. So is doing nothing. He held my face. I promised you a way out. This is it. One final play. We win or we lose everything. When? This weekend. I'm hosting a party at the estate. Supposed to be a celebration. Instead it's going to be a reckoning. The party was perfect on the surface. Expensive. Elegant. Everyone who mattered in Kenzo's world was there. They thought they were coming to celebrate. To network. To maintain their power. They had no idea what was coming. I wore a black dress Kenzo had bought me. Looked the part of the girlfriend. Smiled at people who'd threatened my daughter. Played the role perfectly. Lily and Ivy were safely hidden away with security. Far from whatever was about to happen. At 8 o'clock, Kenzo stood up. Tapped his glass. The room went quiet. Thank you all for coming. I know you're wondering why I called this meeting. Claire was near the front. I saw her tense. For 15 years, I've been part of this organization. Built my reputation. Made my fortune. Done things I'm not proud of. He paused. And now I'm done. Murmurs through the crowd. Shock. Anger. I'm leaving. Transitioning to legitimate business. Spending time with my family. Living a life that doesn't involve looking over my shoulder every day. A man in the back stood up. Vincent's brother. You don't just leave. You know the rules. I do. Which is why I'm not asking permission. Kenzo gestured. Screens around the room lit up. Documents. Photos. Recordings. For the past 6 months, I've been documenting everything. Every illegal operation. Every person involved. Every transaction. Every crime. The room erupted. This is everything the FBI would need to dismantle the entire organization. Every single person in this room would go to prison for decades. He let that sink in. It's currently with a lawyer under strict instructions. If anything happens to me, my daughter or Nora and her daughter, it all gets released. Everyone goes down. You're bluffing, Claire said. But she looked scared. Am I? Kenzo played a recording. Her voice discussing a murder. Clear as day. That's just a sample. I have hours on everyone here. Silence. Here's the deal. You let me walk away. You leave my family alone. You never contact us, threaten us, or come near us again. In return, the files stay buried. You get to keep your lives, your freedom, your businesses. And if we refuse? Vincent's brother again. Then I release everything. Right now. From this room. And we all go down together. Your choice. I watched powerful criminals realize they were trapped. Watched them calculate odds. Watched them understand they'd lost. You're asking us to trust that you'll actually keep this quiet, someone said. No. I'm telling you that you don't have a choice. This isn't a negotiation. This is me informing you of the new reality. Kenzo's voice was ice. I'm leaving. My family is off limits. Forever. That's not up for debate. Claire stood up. You think you're better than us now? Because you found some woman who makes you feel good about yourself? You're still a killer. Still a criminal. You can't just wash that away. You're right. I can't. But I can stop adding to it. I can build something different going forward. He looked at me. I can try to be the man my daughter thinks I am. How touching. Claire's voice dripped with venom. What happens when your perfect little family finds out exactly what you've done? When Nora learns the details you've been keeping from her? When Lily discovers Daddy isn't a hero? They already know. Nora's seen the files. She knows what I am. She's choosing to stay anyway. Every eye in the room turned to me. I stood up. Walked to Kenzo's side. I know exactly who he is. What he's done. The blood on his hands. And I know he's trying to change. That's enough for me. You're a fool, Claire said. Maybe. But I'm a fool who's getting out of this life. Can you say the same? She had no answer for that. Kenzo looked around the room. So here's how this works. Everyone here agrees to the terms. Out loud. On camera. Then you leave. You go back to your operations. You forget I exist. Or we all go to prison tonight. Decide now. One by one they agreed. Some angry. Some resigned. All of them trapped by their own crimes documented in Kenzo's files. Claire was the last. She stared at Kenzo with pure hatred. This isn't over. Yes, it is. You come near us again, your file goes straight to the FBI. You have more to lose than anyone in this room. Test me if you want. She left without another word. When the room was empty except for us and Kenzo's security, I finally breathed. Is it really over? For now. They'll honor the agreement because they have no choice. But we need to be careful. For a long time. I can live with careful. He pulled me close. We did it. We're actually getting out. We're getting out. That night, after everything, we went home to our daughters. Lily and Ivy were asleep on the couch, a blanket thrown over both of them. We stood there watching them. These two little girls who had no idea what had just happened. Who were safe because their parents had fought for them. I love you, Kenzo said quietly. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for trying to change. Not trying anymore. Doing. For them. For us. I believed him. For the first time, I actually believed we might have a future. The files stayed buried. The threats stopped. Kenzo transitioned fully to legitimate business. It wasn't perfect. There were still moments of danger. Still people who resented his exit. Still threats that had to be managed. But we were out. We were building something real. And that was enough. 2 years later, my life was unrecognizable from the exhausted waitress who defended a scared little girl over spilled wine. The restaurant was fully mine now. Kenzo signed it over 6 months after the party. His way of giving me something completely separate from his past. Something clean that was just mine. I ran it better than he ever did. Promoted staff based on merit. Created a culture where people actually wanted to work. We had a waiting list 3 months long and reviews that brought people from across the state. Ivy was 8 now, thriving in a good school, taking science classes because Lily got her obsessed with chemistry. She had friends, hobbies, stability. Everything I'd never been able to give her before. She knew Kenzo wasn't her biological father. We'd been honest about that from the start. She called him Kenzo, not Dad. But she loved him fiercely anyway. Lily was 11. Smart, confident, happy. She and Ivy were inseparable. Shared a room at Kenzo's house by choice even though they each had their own. Called each other sisters without hesitation. They had no idea about the files still locked away. About the meeting that changed everything. About the criminal empire their father used to run. They just knew he worked in real estate development now. That he was home for dinner every night. That he coached their soccer team and helped with homework and was boringly, wonderfully normal. Kenzo kept his promise. He got out completely. Sold off the questionable operations. Invested everything in legitimate businesses. Real estate. The restaurant. A tech startup that was actually doing well. He'd never be fully clean. The past didn't disappear just because you stopped adding to it. But he was different. Calmer. He smiled more. Slept better. He proposed 6 months after the party. Nothing fancy. Just us and the girls at home. Lily and Ivy had made signs that said, "Say yes," and giggled behind the couch while he got down on one knee. I know I'm not perfect. I know my past is complicated. But you make me want to be better every single day. Will you marry me? I said yes before he finished the question. Ivy and Lily screamed and tackled us both. We got married 3 months later. Small ceremony. Close friends only. The girls were flower girls and cried through the entire thing. It was perfect. Claire tried to make trouble once. Showed up at the restaurant drunk, demanding to see me. Security removed her before she made it past the door. I heard later she'd been arrested for embezzlement. Lost everything trying to maintain the lifestyle she'd built on illegal money. She went to prison for 6 years. I didn't feel bad for her. Vincent's brother tried to shake Kenzo down once. Claimed the agreement was void after 2 years. Wanted money to keep quiet about the past. Kenzo made one phone call. Reminded him about the files. The man disappeared back to wherever he'd come from. The threats stopped after that. People realized Kenzo was actually out. That he meant what he said. That the files were real and would bury anyone who tested him. Slowly, cautiously, we built a normal life. Kenzo's mother reached out again about a year after the wedding. Asked to meet Lily. To try to build a relationship after 17 years of nothing. Kenzo said no at first. Then Lily asked about her grandmother. Said all her friends had grandparents and she wanted to know hers. He agreed to supervised meetings. Once a month. Neutral locations. Margaret cried the first time she saw Lily. Brought gifts. Told stories about Kenzo as a child that made him uncomfortable, and made Lily laugh. It was awkward. Painful sometimes. But slowly, carefully they rebuilt something. Not what they'd had before. Something different. More honest. I never fully trusted Margaret. But I saw how much it meant to Kenzo to have his mother try. So I supported it. My life now was everything I'd never let myself dream about, when I was working 3 jobs and terrified of eviction notices. Financial security. A career I was proud of. A daughter who was happy and safe. A husband who loved me. Another daughter who was mine in every way that mattered. It wasn't perfect. We still had hard days. Moments when Kenzo's past crept in. Times when I wondered if the files would ever stop being necessary. But it was real. It was ours. It was built on honesty and choice and fighting for each other. Last week, Ivy asked me if I ever regretted defending Lily that night. We were cooking dinner. Just us. The kind of quiet moment I used to think only other people got to have. Not for a second, I told her. Even with all the scary stuff that happened after? Even with that. Because that scary stuff led to this. To our family. To you having a sister. To me having a life I actually love instead of just survive. She thought about that. I'm glad you stood up for her. Me too, baby. That night, all 4 of us had dinner together. Kenzo made his terrible pasta that he insisted was good. The girls argued about some science thing I didn't understand. We laughed over nothing important. It was ordinary. Beautifully, perfectly ordinary. After the girls went to bed, Kenzo and I sat on the porch of the house we'd bought together. Not his estate. Not my apartment. Ours. Something we built together. Do you ever miss it? I asked. The power. The control. The empire. No. He didn't hesitate. I miss feeling important sometimes. But then Lily shows me her report card or Ivy tells me about her day. Or I watch you run that restaurant like you were born to do it. And I remember what's actually important. We're really going to be okay, aren't it? We're already okay. We're better than okay. He pulled me close. You saved me, Nora. From a life that would have killed me eventually. From becoming someone my daughter was afraid of. From forgetting I was human. You saved yourself. I just reminded you it was possible. Same thing. Maybe it was. The files are still locked away. insurance we'll hopefully never need, a reminder of where we came from and how far we've traveled. Sometimes I think about the scared waitress I was 3 years ago, working herself to death, terrified of everything, just trying to survive one more day. She wouldn't recognize my life now, wouldn't believe this was possible. But it is. Because I chose to be brave one time when it mattered. Because I stepped between danger and a scared kid. Because I said yes to impossible things. Because I learned that sometimes the scariest choice is the right one. My name is Nora Kinji. I used to be a struggling single mother with nothing but determination and $43 in my bank account. Now I'm a successful restaurant owner, a wife, a mother to 2 incredible girls, part of a family I never expected and wouldn't trade for anything. This is what happens when you choose kindness over fear. When you believe people can change. When you fight for something real instead of just accepting what the world gives you. It's not a fairy tale. It's messy and complicated and still scary sometimes. But it's mine. Ours. And I wouldn't change a single thing. Well, maybe I'd change the part where Kenzo thinks he can cook pasta. That's still a work in progress. But everything else? Perfect. Thank you for staying with me through this entire story. I hope it reminded you that change is possible. That kindness matters. That sometimes the biggest risks lead to the biggest rewards. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel because I have so many more stories to share with you. Stories about people who fought for love, for family, for second chances. Stories that will make you believe in possibility again. Comment below and tell me about a time you chose bravery over fear. A time you stood up for someone. A time you took a risk that changed your life. I read every single comment and your stories inspire me. Where are you watching from? What time is it where you are? Are you having a good day or a hard one? Whatever you're going through, I hope this story reminded you that better things are possible. That you're stronger than you think. That your choices matter. Share this with someone who needs to hear that people can change. That love is worth fighting for. That kindness always matters, even when it's hard. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing in these stories. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, be brave. Be kind. And remember that your story isn't over yet. The best parts might still be coming. Take care of yourselves. You matter. Your choices matter. And you deserve a life you don't just survive but actually love. See you soon.